I don't know if you can see her, but my pup is here to introduce the vlog with me. She's a little nervous because of the wind. This is Sitka, for those of you that are new. I am about almost halfway into the month because I realized I filmed a TBR for this and then I never actually started vlogging because I'm new and I'm still learning the rhythms of everything. So I thought I'd update you. Oh, another reason I haven't updated you is because I haven't been reading a ton because I'm in the beast that is Oathbringer. So I just thought I'd introduce you to what the Magical Readathon is and tell you about my character and then get into what I'm actually reading. So, the Magical Readathon is created by G from Book Roast, and it used to be Harry Potter themed, but she decided to move away from that in recent years with all the J.K. Rowling things, and now it's much more of like a D&D inspired readathon. So you create a character, and your character has gone to Aurelium Academy to study for a career, and you sit your exams twice a year, once in April and then once in September. My character, which I'm very excited about because for the previous rounds, I never created a character. I just kind of like played along with like what would I want to be. And then I decided in the spring, I was like, I kind of want to get into the character part. So I decided to kind of start over with everything and create a character from scratch and kind of start at square one. So I created my character, Nari. She is about 40 years old or so, and the backstory for her is that she has been a fighter in the army to help make a living, and she finally is able to kind of retire from that. All she's ever wanted to do is sit with her books and learn and all that. So she is studying to become an archmage. And I sat my exams in April and I was able to complete them. And for the Autumn Equinox, if you saw my TBR video, I have 8 books that I need to read. So the first book that I read, I DNF'd. So I tried reading Lonely Castle in the Mirror, and I got about 40% of the way through, and I just wasn't feeling it because I was expecting like a magical Ghibli-esque story, and that's not quite what that book is about. It's more about anxiety around school and bullying and growing up, and about these kids who get pulled through the mirror of their house and they're put in this castle where they're told if you find a key you can open the wishing room and you'll get a wish granted to you. That is a very small part of the story, and it unfortunately was the part of the story I was most interested in. So I found that a little bit frustrating that we were spending more time in this girl's head dealing with her anxiety around schooling than we were like the magical part of it. And I had gone into it thinking this is going to be a magical book. So I ended up just looking up a summary of the end and decided to DNF that book and just kind of move on. But if you are more into books about anxiety and school and teens and growing up and kind of finding your way in the world when things are unsettling and scary with a little bit of magical realism, I think you should definitely pick it up. And I read that one for, I can't remember the class, but it was for a book that has all the letters of my name in the title. So my name is Cheyenne. So that was kind of difficult to find all those letters in there, but I did. Now, with this readathon, if you DNF something and you want to count it, you have to buy a scroll in the Guild Emporium. That's new this year. So I'm considering buying a scroll. However, my reading has been very slow because I have been working on Oathbringer, and it's over there right now, so I'll update you with it later. But I started on about page like 500 or so, and I'm on like page 700, so I've read 200 pages, but I still have about 500 left. It's incredibly long. And then I have 3 volumes of manga and 4 other books that I need to read. And we're on September 12th. So, I'm not really sure how this month is going to go. One other thing you can do is you can buy a scroll to let you kind of continue on for the next month if things get busy. So I might do that because I do have 50 GRP from the previous semester. So I might do that. Then that would mean maybe I could read something else to kind of replace Lonely Castle in the Mirror, because I would have that extra month, which could be good. So that is definitely an option, definitely something I'm considering. But right now I'm trying to make my way through Oathbringer. The sad thing is I'm really enjoying it. I think there's a lot of things happening. I think if Way of Kings and Words of Radiance were going up the mountain, I feel like Oathbringer is at this like plateau. It's setting up a lot of things for the next 2 books. Like, we are getting pieces in place, and there's a lot that needs to happen. There's a lot we need to learn. And so it is slightly slower paced, but it's still just as interesting as the other books. It's just moving slow. And I think I'm also moving slow. I'm trying to find my footing as a new Instagrammer and YouTuber for not, like, I'm feeling that urge to read small things. Like, I'm like, I need 10 things to talk about every video. And that's just not realistic, and I need to temper my expectations because no one should be feeling that way around YouTube videos. So I'm just taking my time with Oathbringer, and we're just working on reading it. I'm actually going to go sit down tonight. I have a couple hours. And then, yeah, once I'm done with Oathbringer, I really got to crack on with the other books. So thanks for sitting in on this intro. Wish me luck. On how I've been doing for the Magical Readathon. I have been really focused on getting through Oathbringer, like I said in my last update. I am now on page 950. I am nearing the end. We have under 300 pages left to go. It's getting really good. The things we've been learning about the world and some of the characters in this book have been really intense. And there have been quite a few moments since I last checked in where I didn't want to put the book down because I was just reading, and I didn't want to stop. So this has been great. I'm nearing the end of it. I'm hoping to be able to finish it in a couple more days and then move on to some other things. We had another DNF, unfortunately, so I had switched out the color wheel prompt for one of the oldest books on my TBR, and I was going to read Beauty by Sherry S. Tepper. I got about 100 pages into this one, and I put it down. This is a Sleeping Beauty fairy tale retelling, and it has a sci-fi twist, which I won't tell you what it is. A sci-fi twist maybe 70, 80 pages in that I was not expecting, and turns out I didn't enjoy it. This got to be very dark in not a great way. The author is trying to make the world seem dark and gritty in a very tired, cliche way of doing it, where assault on women is the way to show that things are bad. And I just wasn't liking the characters. I wasn't liking where the story was going at all. So I looked up some reviews on Storygraph. A lot of people did not like this one. This is one of those books where I gave a chance to it because I found it for $3 in a bookstore and wanted to try an old fantasy author, and this one just didn't work for me. I don't know if I'll pick up any of her other work. I really just don't like when we have female characters in books and assault is like the only thing that happens to like further their journeys. There are so many other things that could happen to women, good and bad, in stories. I don't know why assault always has to be the way we go. So I decided to DNF that one. So then I took a look at how everything had been going. I'd been DNFing things left and right, and I was like, this isn't working. So I decided, instead of switching out the color and title prompt for one of the oldest books on my TBR, I decided to go back to the original prompt. I looked at my shelves. I had about 5 different colors on my shelves. I think it was bronze, green, red, black. Maybe it was only 4. Maybe I'm forgetting one. And I decided I'm just going to put those colors on a wheel for books that I do have on my shelves and just spin it that way, because I had more than I thought. I had a couple library books come in too that had color titles. So I think I'm going to do that. But before I decided to do that, I decided to start The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This is for a book that has been on Book Roast's channel. So I was kind of scanning through some videos, and this is one, I can't remember if she read it or she hauled it or something, but I saw it on her channel. So I decided to try this one. I'm like 10 pages in, so I can't really tell you much about it, but this is going to be my book that I take around with me while I finish up Oathbringer physically. So that's where we're at. Once I'm done with The Starless Sea or Oathbringer, I'll spin the color wheel to choose a book for that prompt. So we're making progress. I still have 3 manga volumes to read because I need to get to Tokyo Terroraba Girls Volume 7. So I have to read 5, 6, and 7. So one of these days I might sit down and try to read through all 3 of those real quick. I do have them out from the library digitally, so I might get to those, and otherwise I'm really enjoying this. So this has been my big read, and I'm glad that I've had this to kind of take me through all the DNFs. I also think that's why I'm reading a bit slowly, because the other things I've been picking up while I'm out and about haven't been very good. This one at least is good. Hello. It has been a little while for me. I had surgery on the 19th of September. I was getting my gallbladder removed, and I was out of commission there for a little while. I finished Oathbringer, though it took me a lot longer than I had expected because my eyes were really blurry after the anesthesia for a few days, and so trying to read that giant book with small text was just hard. So I didn't do a lot of reading, lots of TV watching, which was fine. And so I've been scrambling now that I'm feeling better, a little bit back to normal. I've been scrambling to read as much as I can. I finished a couple things on audiobook while I was in recovery. I read Love Your Life by Sophie Kinsella, which was like a 3.5 star romance. I didn't think it was great, and part of that could have been because it was after surgery, so I was drowsy, I wasn't feeling well, I wasn't paying 100% attention, but this one just didn't jive with me. I don't know, the characters, it was like they didn't get along the whole time, and then we were supposed to root for them at the end, and I don't know, it just didn't feel much like a romance to me. And then I read Sun by Lois Lowry. So this was the last book in the Gathering series. And again, it was fine. It was probably like a 4. I read Sun by Lois Lowry. It was fine. It just finished off the series. I didn't think it was great. I kind of understand what people mean when they say the first book is the best book. I thought this one kind of brought everything full circle, but it's not really memorable. Like, I remember much more from The Giver than I do from this book, and I probably remember more from the other two. So it was fine. I thought it wrapped up okay, but not something that I would like recommend as a must read for people. And that one was for the color of my birthstone on the cover. So it had a lot of white on the cover. So I went with that for Diamonds for April. And then I spun the spinner wheel for color. I just added the colors that I had on my shelves. And I got Bronze. So I get to read a Sword of Bronze and Ashes by Anna Smith Spark. And I'm super enjoying this. This is so good. So this is a fantasy horror, and it has kind of like a Viking or Old English kind of feel to it, though it is fully fantasy at this point, I believe. I haven't noticed any like real world things in it, and it definitely has some like magic going on. And this is about a woman who is a mother with her 3 daughters and her husband. And there's this evil from her past that is like kind of coming to get her, and she has to go on the run with her family. And if you are looking for female characters in fantasy who are moms but are also relevant to the plot and have much more to them than just being a mom, read this book because we have an awesome, she is a great warrior. I don't want to spoil too much about it, but that is literally what her name means in the stories, great warrior. And she is awesome and capable, and this is really spooky, so it's a great fall read if you're looking for a great fantasy fall read. And I'm 60 pages in, and I am really liking it. The writing is gorgeous, very lyrical, without being heavy-handed with it. Like, it still is down to earth, not extreme with the lyrical writing. So I'm reading this. And I forgot to mention one book that I tried to read was The Starless Sea. I really like the writing of it. I enjoy The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. But this one was just too Alice in Wonderland for me. We have our main character who's kind of like getting drawn into the secret society. And that was really interesting. But he had like no agency at all. And was just getting pulled along to all these different things. And was just being like, whoa, this is weird. What do I do next? And someone would tell him what to do. And he didn't really have a purpose or a point to his character. And from what I've heard, it doesn't really get much better at that. And that was starting to really frustrate me. Like, he was just too blah. He didn't want anything. He didn't have a purpose. He was just interested, but confused and interested and just kind of going along with things and not actually having anything pulling him forward. So I decided to DNF that one at like 150-ish pages and not move on to that one. So my reading is definitely going to be spilling into October. It is September 30th today, and I need to read this, and then I need to read Wool by Hugh Howey. And then I also need to do the lore quest. I didn't do any for the spring equinox, and so I need to do both parts of the lore quest. So I'll probably be working on that. So I may leave this vlog here and meet you in the next one to finish up this one, finish up Wool, and then maybe work on the lore quest a little bit. That might be an interesting part to my vlog. Thank you for watching, and hopefully next month we'll have a little more reading since I won't be in surgery, which will be amazing.